All right, Jesse on Fire, welcome back to the channel. Now we're going to talk about Conor McGregor and Dustin Poirier because they've got a fight coming up in case you guys haven't heard. UFC 264 snuck up on us. Just poof, it's here. Well, 2 weeks it's here. And that's very exciting if you ask me. I am very excited. But we're going to talk about that because there's a huge factor relating to this fight that I don't hear anyone talking about, which is really bizarre, right? Like, and I have cruised around the interweb listening to people's podcasts and their videos. I don't hear anyone talking about this. And it's very weird because I think it might be the number one factor as it relates to what's going to be different in this fight versus last fight, okay? And spoiler alert, I'm not talking about Conor's karate style or Dustin's leg kicks. I'm talking about other things, okay? Things that really matter up here, okay? Now, if you like the content, subscribe and ring the bell. We're also going to talk about some other things because we're going to talk about Conor's mindset going into the first fight in a different way, okay, than we've talked about prior, because there's a factor, again, that I don't hear a lot of people notating, certainly not enough leading up to the fight. So anyway, tell me what you think in the comments. Tell me you think I'm wrong. Tell me you think I'm right. But first, tell me who you think is going to win. I want to hear that right now. Before you forget, comment who you think is going to win this fight, because I'm imagining that it's going to be relatively split down the middle. I think most people think Dustin's going to win now. But anyway, we're going to talk about it. So let's jump into it. Now, before I get into the big factor that I don't hear anybody talking about, I want to talk about this other thing, okay? So everyone knows Conor was distracted. Now, I've talked at length about this topic. As a matter of fact, I talked at length about this topic to the secret dude at Kids Rock's house. But the thing that I think played in heavily in that particular fight was Conor's mindset as like, I'm so successful, it's unbelievable. I can't get myself to a place where I want to destroy this guy, okay? Like, that would make him not a fierce competitor. It would make him psychopathic, okay? Like, he now is fighting because he loves it. He's not trying to destroy his opponent, but that's an aside, okay? The thing that I really don't hear anyone talking about is the fact that Conor was talking about boxing Manny Pacquiao immediately after Dustin Poirier. Everyone knows that, kind of. But what I don't think most people know is that Conor manages Manny Pacquiao, okay? Manny Pacquiao has the same management team as Conor McGregor. So what does that tell you about Conor's mindset relating to the Dustin Poirier fight, okay? Because Conor says a lot of stuff, right? I'm going to fight this guy, I'm going to fight this guy, I'm going to fight this guy, I'm going to fight get to, and like at a certain point, it doesn't really matter. And the reason for that, of course, is because he has some other asshole managing his Twitter, and also, he's kind of outside the game, and he like steps in from time to time versus this being his life being in like he was before. But once he said, I'm going to fight this guy 1,000 times, he doesn't end up fighting them, it doesn't really matter that much who he says he's going to fight. What I'm trying to explain to you is that this is different when it comes to the Manny Pacquiao fight, okay? They have the same management team. Now, what does that tell you? It means they control both sides of the transaction. So it's like it's like a real estate agent that is representing the seller and the buyer, right? They're going to get that deal done. And so Conor and his people were definitely going to get that deal done with Manny Pacquiao. So in his mind, he got to get through Dustin, build some build whatever he's got going on, and he's going to go fight Manny. And so as he's training for a guy he thinks he's going to walk through like a chainsaw through butter, he's just focusing on boxing. Because he's like, yeah, I'll just go beat Dustin real quick. I don't think that he can hold a candle to me. And then I'll go fight Manny Pacquiao. So he's distracted, he's not fearsome, and he's thinking about another fight, okay? Again, this is still not the major factor that I don't hear anyone talking about. Although I don't hear anyone talking about the fact that Conor and, Conor's team manages Manny Pacquiao and how certain that fight was to happen had he beat Dustin and how distracting that would have been, okay? Now, the other thing, before I get to the big one, is if anybody thinks that Conor's going to get beat by leg kicks in this one, I disagree, okay? I will tell you right now, he's not getting beat on calf kicks. Not on this one, okay? I think he's going to switch back to a more karate style where he's going to use distance, he's going to use long kicks, he's going to keep him at bay, he's going to make himself dangerous. I mean, I think Conor is actually very likely to win this fight. I thought it was a certainty he was going to win the last time. So, I mean, I'm not saying that you should bet your life on it, but I was very bullish on Conor winning. And then, he was vulnerable to the calf kicks. And I think in hindsight, we understand why he was vulnerable to those things as it relates to his mental, the way he's thinking about the fight, how he trained, etc. But Conor is a competitor. He's a lifelong martial artist. He's always evolving. He ain't getting beat on calf kicks again. I can absolutely promise you that. Okay. Now, let's just get to the big thing though, right? I mean, I could talk about how Conor's, power doesn't necessarily transition to 155, and also how Dustin seems to have an absolutely granite chin at 155. But the thing that I want to talk about here, which is the big thing that I alluded to, is the fact that they are going to be fighting in front of an absolutely packed, out of their mind crowd, okay? So when they fought last time, it was in Abu Dhabi, and there was like a very limited crowd. I think there was, 2,000 people there? Maybe 5,000 super wealthy people there. Okay, that's a very different ball game than a sold-out T-Mobile Arena, okay? That is a different ball game, okay? I've watched a fight at a sold-out T-Mobile Arena. Actually, it was a Manny Pacquiao fight. I was in the sixth row for Manny Pacquiao versus Jesse Vargas. And that was not even remotely the level of decibels that it's going to be for Conor and Dustin this time, okay? So the environment matters, because certain guys feed on the crowd. Other guys feed on the silence. Now, I'm not saying necessarily that Dustin feeds on the silence, but we know one of them feeds on the crowd in a way that almost no one ever has before. Like Conor is like a sponge for the energy of the crowd. He is way more dangerous with a crowd there, in my opinion. And I don't understand how no one's talking about that. Like, I really don't understand. They're just like, calf kicks. Oh, he's going to be more prepared. Oh, but Dustin, I don't know how he's going to do it. And it's like, okay, but ask Dustin. Ask Dustin how he lost the first fight. Does he say, because Conor, he was longer than I expected. Like Conor, he had better control of distance than I expected, or his power was more. I wasn't expecting him to be so powerful. No, he doesn't say any of those things. Dustin says he got mind fucked. Okay, he says he got mind fucked the first time, and Conor beat him mentally, right? So Dustin himself is acknowledging that he was beat psychologically the first time that he fought Conor, okay? Now, so obviously the psychology of the fight is a huge factor, and no one's going to talk about the fact that you're going to have, 40,000 screaming fans, or maybe it's, 27, whatever. But a completely packed to the brim full house screaming, lots of them in favor of Conor. Not that necessarily matters, but an enormous, that's a huge deal. It's a huge deal when you're thinking about the psychology of the fight. Huge. And I don't hear anybody talking about it. I don't understand that at all. It's bizarre to me. Bizarre. I think that favors Conor. I personally think Conor is probably going to win, but Dustin is a badass. He is a savage. And I certainly can't get myself to root against Dustin. It's just hard. Unless you're a psychopath, it's hard to root against anyone Conor's fighting now, there are certain guys that I just kind of am like, whatever. I really like Conor, and I don't really care about those guys. But Conor's won. He's won by, what the fuck? Are you trying to sabotage this video? This was going really well. Jesus. What the fuck, man? We had a good thing going for a while. Now you're just going back to throwing yourself off the stand in the middle of my fucking video? Jesus. If you want to go be a microphone for someone else's channel, just say it. You don't need to just do that kind of thing in the middle of the video. Just tell me if you want to go. Okay? There's no one holding you here. The fact that you're an inanimate object, that can change immediately. Just come to life. Come to life. And just run out of here. Like Sleeping Beauty. Just come to life and then just run along. Run to someone you're not going to sabotage. Jesus. Anyway, so, yeah, Conor's won by any stretch of the imagination. There's just no stretch of, measurement. He can't lose. If he loses every other fight for the rest of his life, he's won. He's won. He's won at life. And, all these other guys, if you're a humanitarian who respects fighters, you want all these guys to come out of this thing having sacrificed their health for something good. I took a lot of shots. My memory is not perfect, but I did what I loved and I'm set for life. And there's a very, very small handful of people that get to say that. But if you're not rooting for all these guys to have that happen, then I don't know, that's kind of weird. Which is why it's very challenging to root against Conor's opponent anymore, But I'm certainly very excited for the fight. Very excited. I'm also very excited for the prospects of an Oliveira and Conor fight if Conor wins, but I'm excited about a Dustin Poirier fight if with Oliveira if he wins. I think Oliveira is is still yet to be tested by the absolute brass of that division. I mean, if you really think about it, it's like, you know, Michael Chandler came in, he had an incredible first fight. He looked great. He almost beat Charles Oliveira. And he left his hand down and he got clipped. But like, you know, Chandler's still kind of an untested asset in the UFC versus a guy like Gaethje, as an example, right? Like if he beats Gaethje, if Oliveira beats Gaethje, to me, that's a more meaningful win than anybody that he's beat thus far. Not even to me, that's just objectively a bigger win. If he beats Dustin Poirier, damn, okay, you know, if he beats Poirier, Conor, Gaethje, now you're talking like maybe we need a Khabib, you know, comeback session here. Or maybe Islam Makhachev by then will have established himself as the next Khabib and, you know, they'll throw him in there. I've been thinking about this. You want to know what I think? Just as an added bonus. Maybe do this in another video. I should do this in another video. A lot of people would click on this thumbnail. But I'm just going to say it to you guys because if you stayed this long, you earned it. Usually in my analytics, only about 30% of people will make it this long, or 35%. So you guys have earned this. Okay, here's the deal. I think the reason they're holding Islam Makhachev back at the UFC and not giving him, you know, title shots is because they know if he gets close to the title, there is no way Khabib's coming back. Mm-hmm. You know, strategically, these guys are smart. And if I was in the seat of the UFC and I was playing this out, I would know. I'd be like, look, we let Islam Makhachev even sniff the belt. Khabib's gone. Khabib will not come back, you know. Or at the very least, the only way he'll come back is if Islam loses. And like, you know, let's give ourselves the best chance to have Khabib come back, right? Why would we sabotage ourselves? And, you know, Khabib would say, well, because Islam Makhachev deserves a title shot. And they'd be like, oh, hey, what movie have you guys been watching? Because that's not how this works. You know, we want you back. We'll get to Islam once we're done with you, Khabib. Anyway, that's what I got. Subscribe to the channel, ring the bell. Peace in the Middle East. Peace.